Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name's Mike P. Warski, coming to you live from the East Coast. I am the co-host with the most from the coast with the most here on the Rundown. 2A Views, conservative news. And Craig, guess what day it is?
Thank God it's Thank God it's Put a smile on your face. Hey. Anyway. Having a good time this Friday, ain't we?
Friday,
Yes.
Friday or Tuesday or Sunday, whatever. It's all the same.
Yes, sirree, Bob. Yes, sirree, Bob. So now next week is going to be kind of hairy because I still have to see what my schedule is like, but I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. next week. So I'll actually also be on the 6 o'clock Eastern time in this time zone. So I just have to check my schedule to make sure I don't have an evening meeting or something like that. But the plan is to do the show from DC Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, I will be on my way, and I don't know if I'm going to make it in time to do the show on Wednesday from Houston, where we're going to be going for the NRA. And then Thursday, I guess, depending on whatever time you guys get there, we may or may not. Well, I may do the program. I don't know if we will do the program. It's unlikely you'll get there in time. Okay, so Friday though, the show will be live from NRA, and then we'll also be doing interviews for 2A News. So we're gonna have a good time talking gun rights. If you folks are gonna be at NRA, the annual conference, please do us a favor. Come on over and say hello. Mike will be doing Arms Room Radio. I'll be over at the 2A News booth, and when we'll get together on Friday and do the rundown together. So hopefully y'all can come on out and say hello. You guys can say what's up to Earl, say what's up to Jason, and a bunch of the other friends that we've had on the program will be there as well.
Yeah, we like to call them the super friends because they're super friends.
They are super friends. They're like super cool, you know?
I wouldn't go that far.
You wouldn't go that you wouldn't go that far. Okay. Fair enough. All right, sir. Well, hey, let's get ready to get into the program. But you know how we do it. Look, we always start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors. So with that, Mikey, why don't you take it away?
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get yourself some barrels. They got rifle barrels, pistol barrels for ARs. They got regular pistols, shotguns, rifle barrels, anything you want. You can get over there and get all the barrels you want at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get a nice little discount. You want the best in field gear, tactical, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS. They got it all. Get your group together. Get your agency together. Place an order at uscombatgear.com where you get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment and visit our sponsors. By the way, we take this time and we try to get them all out of the way rather than spreading them out because we want to get them out of the way. Plus, it takes people about 3 minutes to catch on to the live program, the fact that it's live. Anyway, so just so you know, take some time, visit their websites, spend some money with them. These are the folks who bring us to you. Check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you also, though, let them know that it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. I also want to encourage you, if you are watching this program during the 3 o'clock hour on the East Coast, or on the West Coast, during the 6 o'clock hour on the East Coast, you are watching us live, which means we're taking your comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Give us a shout out to the program. Let us know what's up. Let us know what you think about what we're talking about. And we don't care if you disagree with us. In fact, I encourage you to disagree with us because that makes it even more interesting because then we get to mock you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
That's right. That's right, Craig. Right. We're live, right? Show everybody the live symbol. We are live, folks. So check us out live. We are live.
We are live.
Time for the weekend.
Definitely time for the weekend. Definitely time for the weekend. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's topics. The first thing I want to talk about, because we've been talking Trump and we've been talking war for so much, and I figured I'd take just a wee bit of a break from that because I wanted to hit on Mamdani's first 100 days. That's right. The media is all awash. They are all aflitter, all a Twitter, excuse me, with Zorhan Mamdani and his first 100 days. And, well, let's just put it this way. It's not exactly looking, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not exactly looking real positive here. I don't understand. I'm trying to switch the story over. There we go. I was trying to switch the story over and keep talking. There we go. Bam. So as you can see, the Associated Press is all aghast. They're all like, oh my, his first 100 days, Mamdani brings a unique star power to New York City governance. I mean, they start off with this. Okay, at the end of his first day, he decides he's going to walk 6 miles home, and they made a big deal of it on the social media.
How you doing? Hi, guys. Hello. Hi, guys.
Yeah. Craig, he walked 6 miles home and only got robbed 3 times.
Oh, my
Record.
God.
Guess what? In my head when I was coming, I was like, you know what? I'm going to email him. But I was like, you can't do that. You don't know him. Oh my God. You're not gonna mommy.
So anyway, so folks were losing their minds. And, they went around and they asked people, what did they think of the job that Mamdani was doing? And needless to say, well, let's just say, according to Spectrum News, everyone seemed to think he's doing a good job, and they'll tell you why.
I think he's doing a very good thing for New York, and it's a very good place in New York.
The biggest thing for me is I seen him change potholes in front of my face. I seen him fix a pothole, so it's like he's at least trying.
I would give him a 7. I like his energy, I like his ideas, but I think he's still a little naive.
Pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't vote for him, but he's doing good. I think he needs to lose those crazy taxes.
There's a lot of good, the universal child care. New York had a really good start to the year in terms of crime.
I like how he takes a stand for tenants.
I hope he focuses on just continuing to prove that he's not in the pockets of billionaires.
He's Muslim, I'm Muslim, so I like the fact that he's made it a point to really represent the Muslims in the community.
I'm going to give him an 8. I think the city really needed to feel like it's got a future.
It's a marathon, and the first 100 days are a snapshot of what I think the future has.
Okay, now keep in mind, I want you to hear, the only thing you heard that he actually did was put some asphalt in a pothole in front of one guy. So that's the only thing that he really did. But there's other things that, there are people who are really talking about the things that he didn't do. There's also some people who are very, very happy with the things that he has not done.
Okay, Shabos, what do you make of this first 100 days? Do you think he has been an exceptional leader?
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty exceptional when 20 homeless people died in the New York City winter storm due to the fact that Mamdani reversed a decades-long policy of forcing those either who are houseless or mentally unstable from being in shelters. He said, we're not going to do that because it's not humane, and then 20 of them died. So I think that was pretty exceptional. I think when you have individuals like Richard Williams, a 83-year-old retired Army vet who was shoved and killed on the New York City subway tracks by an illegal alien who already had prior convictions, and the federal government didn't know about it because New York City is a sanctuary city and does not report any of its immigration policies or illegal aliens to the federal government. I think that's pretty exceptional. So when people make the claim that Zohar Mamdani is pissing off the right people, well, he's pissing off the 83-year-old Army veteran who's now dead. He pissed off the 20 dead homeless in New York City. He's certainly pissing off most of the New York City Council, even those in the DSA, the far left, because his policy proposals and his 2026 budget is just simply not rooted in reality. So I'm not entirely sure the substantive claims that you had made, because they really weren't rooted in numbers or reality or the facts on the ground. We know that most of the policies that he wanted to implement haven't actually been enforced or even proposed. So in that sense, I'm very appreciative of Zohar Mamdani. He talked about freezing the rent, and he's not going to do it because he never had the authority to do it to begin with. So I think that's really positive.
Yeah, so he's really popular. I mean, amongst conservatives, he's popular for the stuff that he hasn't done, which means he basically hasn't followed through on any of the things that he said he was going to do.
I learned two things from this story so far, Craig. One is that the most intelligent answer was from an 8-year-old that doesn't own a hairbrush. I don't know where that kid came from and why they interviewed him. And that you could say the word piss on the news now 7 or 8 times and it's okay.
Those are the only constructive things you learned from that piece.
That was it. Absolutely it. Nothing else.
Well,
nothing
there you
else.
go. Because there was really nothing constructive.
No,
but
there wasn't. There wasn't.
So the folks over at the New York Post actually put together a list and talked about some of the promises that Mamdani basically broke. These are promises that he did not only did he not make, but that he broke in his first 100 days. And I'll read just a little bit of the article for you. It says he's zoing back on his word. Many of Mayor Zoran Mamdani's lofty campaign promises have already bitten the dust 100 days in, as he makes a U-turn or scales them back almost beyond recognition. It's his improbable path from democratic socialists also ran to victory in 2025's election came in no small part from the sweeping voter-pleasing pledges. While his marquee platforms of universal childcare, fast and free buses, and a rent freeze clearly captured voters' imaginations, he made a slew of other promises that would quickly and significantly reshape New York City, including city-owned grocery stores, Department of Community Safety, Strategic Response Group, and he's got a list of all of those things. Ending homeless encampments, NYPD gang database, ending that, housing vouchers, class size law, library, doing stuff with the libraries. I mean, Mike, he made a whole bunch of promises, and now all of a sudden, including, by the way, making New York more affordable. And it turns out he's doing anything else but, as he is dramatically going to be not only tapping into the rainy day fund, but he's going to be increasing property taxes on everybody in order to pay for this bloated government.
Yeah, it's amazing, Craig. You and I sat here during his run for office and all of these ideas he came up with. We said, to like 90% of them, it's not within his authority. That's not within his power. That's not in his scope. Those are not things he can do. And now that he's not getting those done, everybody's saying, well, he's trying. You might as well say he's going to give everybody, unicorns and fairy dust, because, it sounds great, but it's not within his power to do. When they, he says he's nothing but a good idea fairy, Craig, and all of the ideas are not even that good.
Well, especially when it's like saying, well, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to harness the power of the sun, and I'm going to pull the sun, and I'm going to use that to fuel all of our electricity. Yeah. I don't have the ability to do that. I'm going to fly to the moon. I don't have the ability to do that. But these are all things that, like you said, we're all looking at this. We're all saying this. And even Democrats were saying, okay, how exactly you don't have the authority, you don't have the ability to do that. Yeah. And it didn't matter that he didn't. All it mattered was that he intended to. Or at least he said he intended to.
And he came up with all these great ideas, and all these little, 8-year-olds with bad haircuts said, oh, it sounds great. It sounds great.
Yes. And I just don't. I am a believer in it. I have always said this, and I think you agree with me. Democrats, particular Democrat socialists, always want to govern based on the world as they wish it were. And that's those on the left. Those on the right generally try to govern on the world based on how it is. There's a level of realism.
How it is and what they can do to make changes, yeah.
Well, exactly. There's an understanding that there are trade-offs in government, right? There are The more government gets involved with anything, there's the intended effect, and then there's the unintended effect. I don't call it side effects. I call it an unintended effect. In other words, I want to do this, and I know though, in the other side, it's going to actually wind up also doing this. Now, where they lie to you is sometimes they tell you the unintended effect. They tell you it's unintended, and it's really what they meant in the first place.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, we
Very
see that.
true.
We see that a lot with guns. It's like they're saying, "Well, no, we're not trying to keep you from owning a gun. We're just going to pass so many regulations. We're going to pass so many taxes. We're going to make you jump through so many hoops that you're not going to be able to own a gun.
Right.
But you'll be able to own a gun.
Yeah, you can own a gun if you
In
all you have to
theory.
do is follow all the laws that are not realistic. Yeah.
Exactly. In theory, you will be able to own a firearm, but not in reality.
Correct.
Anyway, this is going to be, first of all, this is the first 100 days, and it is going to, in the end, be an epic failure there in New York. And I think, George Will wrote a piece, and I back when he first got elected, and I have to say, he said it was before the election. He was like, every so many years, every so many decades, or every so many years, you have to give socialism. You have to allow somebody to give socialism a try so that it can fail, so that generation can once again realize and learn, yeah, this stuff doesn't work.
Yes, yeah. I'd say the last big example of that would be the Obamacare.
Yes. You mean the one that it's not working because Republicans won't increase the subsidies because it's unaffordable.
Correct.
The Affordable Care Act is not affordable, and it's Republicans' fault, according to Democrats.
That's it.
Even though we didn't create it. Anyway. All right, Mike, our next story, I have to say this is a sad, sad time. One of our heroes, one of the pillars of the gun rights community, federal judge Benitez. We refer to him as Saint Benitez because of his positions on the Second Amendment, how they've utterly changed gun laws. He's going to be retiring, or at least he's going to be retiring from the bench. It says here, a Southern California federal judge who has been a favorite among conservatives is leaving the bench. ADR Services, Inc. announced that Judge Roger Benitez, Saint Benitez, is joining the firm as a neutral. Striking down state transgender policies, Benitez made headlines late last year when he struck down California's transgender gag rule, which barred K-12 teachers from sharing their students' preferred gender identity with their own parents. Benitez ruled last December that parents have the constitutional right to know what gender their children identify as if that doesn't sound permanent. I don't want to get into all of those. Here we go. Active gun laws. These are the ones that I think we're really, don't get me wrong. I'm happy he made that decision, but really what makes him Saint Benitez is active on gun laws. It says here, Benitez has been a favorite judge among gun rights activists and has been repeatedly struck down and has repeatedly struck down California gun control laws on the basis of the Second Amendment. Some of those rules, including when he struck down California's ban on standard capacity magazines and semi-automatic rifles, that reportedly fueled a local change in Southern California District to prevent similar gun control cases from being assigned to him in 2023. Plaintiffs had been allowed to try and relate their cases to previous complaints under the old rule. The new local rules allowed defendants to object to that new case. Now that's what's the trip about it. So they made it so that because they knew that he actually stood on the Constitution, they tried to pass a rule within the Ninth Circuit that those cases wouldn't go to him. Now, if that's not over-egging the pudding, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think that would be judicial mandering, right? Wouldn't that be?
Judicial mandering. There you go. I like your word better. Judicial mandering. But
it's Judge Saint Benitez has been a pleasure. It's to have him. And all I can hope is, there has been talk of a vacancy on the Supreme Court. Maybe.
I that would be very, very cool. Do many district judges make the leap up to Supreme Court? I mean, I guess you have people like Kagan who never was a judge before she became a judge, before she became a Supreme Court justice. So it wouldn't be like crazy.
Well, it's different when you're appointed by God to be on the bench. So
right. I gotta say, yeah, he would immediately jump right up there as one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, because you have to figure Alito's talking about retiring, and Clarence Thomas is talking about retiring, right?
Don't say that. I mean, I know Alito's talking about it, but I don't know. Listen, Trump could appoint himself to it, right? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. As much as I like what Donald Trump is doing, I don't know if I want him on the Supreme. I don't want my Supreme Court to be that interesting. I don't want it to be that entertaining. Okay.
Listen, that would be a new talk show, right?
Can you imagine? First of all, oral arguments would be interesting, but can you imagine? God, can you imagine what the opinions would be like?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
This is the stupidest law ever.
Yep.
I just look. I wrote a great law. I think we should just use my law and throw away that law because my law is the greatest. It's
really the best law there is. Everybody says it. It's the best law we've ever had before. There's
no other law like it. No one ever in the history of man has made such a law.
That's it. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. And isn't Marco great? Isn't Marco
great? The littlest hands.
Little hands. You gotta listen. You ever see Marco's hands?
No.
The
little hands. I just think of all of the insults, that and Sleepy Joe were the two that were just like, wow. Like, really? I mean, there's low energy Jeb, but that was just that was a little too on the nose. It wasn't quite flamboyant enough.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Anyway. So we're gonna be losing a good one here in California. But you know that with President Trump, he's gonna be replaced by a good one.
Yes, hopefully somebody of the same caliber. Yeah.
Hopefully someone of the same caliber.
So,
anyway, that's what we're hoping and a wishing.
Yep.
All right, talking about another thing, also in the Ninth Circuit. This was an interesting one. It's an article over at the California Globe, and there's a justice there is Judge Van Dyke, and he is also a very solid conservative. But he's come out just like blasting the Ninth Circuit, and basically saying, look, it says Ninth Circuit Judge Van Dyke blasts court for giving illegal immigrants, quote, a free decade in America. In a scathing unanimous concurrence released Tuesday, Ninth Circuit Judge Lawrence Van Dyke exposed the dirty secret behind his court's immigration docket. The Ninth Circuit has turned meritless appeals into a get-out-of-deportation free card, handing illegal immigrants years, sometimes full decades, of lawful presence in the United States simply for filing paperwork. The case itself was straightforward, attached below. Armando Santana Gonzalez, a Mexican national with multiple unlawful entries between 2014 and 2015, was ordered removed after an immigration judge rejected his asylum, withholding of removal and convention against torture claims. His stories of vague threats from a vigilante group, family extortion, and discrimination as a homosexual never rose to the level of persecution or established the required nexus to a protected ground. The Board of Immigration Appeals agreed, yet Santana remained in the country for over a decade thanks to the Ninth Circuit's flexible policy of automatically granting stays of removal the moment the petition for review is filed. Writing for the panel, that ultimately denied Santana's petition because his arguments were forfeited and meritless. Anyway, Judge Van Dyke used the occasion to unload on his court's broken practice. In concurrence, joined by Judge Eric Tung, Van Dyke declared, I'll read this whole thing. A rational observer might wonder how an alien who conceded his removability in 2015 and whose application for immigration relief was ruled meritless in 2015 and then again in 2016 could possibly still be in the United States pursuing a meritless claim for immigration relief a full decade later. That's a good question, but unfortunately, the extensive delays in the case are hardly unique. Like countless others, this case illustrates that extremely problematic fact that the Ninth Circuit offers more than half of the immigration petitioners in the nation an open tap of time to remain in the United States, no matter how meritless their claims might be. You don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is to peek below the surface at the record in this case. Everyone involved in the case knows that the primary objective of Santana's meritless appeal was simply to secure more time in the United States. And he's talking about how their court doles out more time than any of them, largely because, well, they hear the most cases in the Ninth Circuit. See, this is what you call extrajudicial law. In other words, what they're doing is they're gaming the system in order to allow folks to stay in this country because they don't want them deported.
Greg, just this week in Florida, there's a Haitian undocumented illegal immigrant, Robert Yakin, if I recall his name correctly. He applied for status, was denied, given a deportation order in 2024, and then the Biden administration turned around and gave him temporary protected status. And this week, he killed a mother in a parking lot at a gas station with a hammer, hitting her in the head 6 times with the hammer in the parking lot after a verbal dispute. And he was here under Biden's temporary protected status after a previous order ordering him out of the country. How many more of these do we have to see?
Now, Michael, you do know that there are people who hammer people to death who are American citizens that are here legally. I mean, what are the chances
MC
that
Hammer
someone else would have hammered this woman to death had this illegal immigrant not done it?
Yeah, you're right. If it wouldn't have been him, it would have been someone else, right, Joe? Sleepy Joe. We gave him protected status, you know.
All I know is that dude would not have been in the country and with a hammer hammering someone to death. At least not here in the United States. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
I just the very fact that I will continue to say the thing that the worst thing about this is when I keep hearing people talk about, oh, well, they're just randomly going around arresting people. I'm like, no. I was like, so far I have never, and I have challenged everybody who has said that. I said, show me a case where they just randomly went out and went after people. And in every single time people have sent me something, it didn't take a whole lot of digging, just took a little bit of digging. Come to find out, it was a targeted enforcement. They were looking for specific people. And if there was someone who they wound up taking that was not, that had not committed a crime here, they had, or had an active deportation order, they were already here. They were still here illegally, so they were still violating the law, or they were attacking the officer or preventing them from doing their job, which, by the way, is also breaking the law. So they were all criminals. Every single one of them is criminals. But every single action they took where they were looking for someone who either was a criminal illegal, meaning they had broken the law, other than just being here illegally, or they had an active deportation order, which means they already had their due process.
Exactly. Same thing. We talk about it all the time, right? It's not just, I'm going to go find somebody who's currently here, pending a hearing, pending this with no other charges, nothing else. It's like you said, they do the sweep, they do a targeted area, and if they happen to find somebody else there with that those items, they keep them. Craig, you go fishing. I'm gonna go bass fishing, right? And you pull 2 bass out, and then you pull out a catfish, and you're like, what do I do with the catfish? Well, we're here bass fishing, throw it back. No, the catfish is legal. You keep it. You keep it with the others. You caught it in the net, right? So it goes with the rest of them.
Well, if someone is just driving down the street and they're speeding, you happen to notice that their headlight is out, you're going to pull them over and you're going to give them a ticket. Now, you may just give them a warning, but you're within your rights to give them a ticket if their light is out. I mean, I don't understand why this is such a hard thing for people to understand. And if it weren't for the fact that the media and the left is lying so much, people would know that they're not targeting those individuals. And that's why you don't hear about these things happening in communities that are not sanctuary jurisdictions, because they're going to the jails to get them. They know exactly where they are. They're in jail, and they're going and picking them up in jail.
Yeah, and they know, Craig. They absolutely know.
Yeah,
it's continues to be their battle cry because they got nothing else.
Yep, exactly. All right, before we get on to the next story, I want to give a shout out to Ryan. And I don't know why is it every time I see Ryan AC, he's watching the program. American
Crossfire.
Yes, American Crossfire. I don't know. All of a sudden I saw it and I knew exactly who it was. I'm like, why can't I remember the last name of the program?
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, Ryan over at American Crossfire's tuned in. Ryan, thank you so much. He's been a faithful watcher for quite a while. We really appreciate you tuning in and encouraging your friends to do the same. Now let's talk about loyal and let's talk about disloyal. And I always say this, look, there are a lot of people who have R's after them, who have Republicans after their name, who don't necessarily stand for everything that we stand for. There are folks who are willing to compromise some very, very basic principles. And in states, in particular states that are deep red states like Florida, sometimes some of those R's are actually D's, but they know they can't get elected with a D after their name, so they run as a Republican. And I'm suspecting, and I could be wrong, Mike, you would know better than I would, that Representative Maria Salazar might be just one of those, as she has introduced a measure called the Dignity Act that would have offered amnesty to accused MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Let's read a little bit about her bill here. It says here the Dignity Act, which now has the backing of 19 House Republicans, offers amnesty to millions of illegal aliens living in the United States as long as they meet certain requirements. It remains unclear how those requirements would be enforced. In an op-ed for Fox News Digital, Chamberlain details how Abrego Garcia, the illegal alien accused of human smuggling, MS-13 gang membership, and abusing his wife, who became a flashpoint in the immigration debate last year when the media declared him a, quote, Maryland father, end quote, facing deportation, would have secured amnesty under the Dignity Act. Anyway, I'm not going to read it, but basically, this is a bill, Mike, that's basically, it's amnesty is what it is. And, you know, I've said this. I believe that number one let me get your opinion first. But first of all, are you familiar with the bill?
Yes, I have seen the bill, and you were correct in your assessment of it. I can tell you that Maria Salazar, she's a former Spanish newscaster down here in South Florida. She's out of Dade County. And the best you could describe her as a moderate Republican. You know, she is about as 50-50 as it gets. You know, she is trying to please people, stay as middle of the road as possible to secure her next job.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. She's trying to maintain that job. But now I will say this: my position on all this is, number one, we need to, before we talk anything, and I agree, it is more difficult, the process. If you are someone even who is a good person and wants to come here and be a legal resident, the process is too convoluted, too expensive, and takes too long. Having said that, Ronald Reagan tried to fix the system, and he gave them an amnesty before the system was fixed. And Democrats lied, and the system, and He gave amnesty. The system never got fixed. We never got enforcement was the real problem, because the first problem you have to deal with is enforcement. The other issue, though, is that when you talk about quote unquote amnesty, I don't know if I believe in amnesty. I definitely do not believe in a pathway to citizenship, a pathway to legal residency, maybe. But I definitely don't believe in allowing someone who is a known gang member, someone who is a spousal abuser and a human trafficker, to have any sniff at an opportunity at being able to become an American citizen, let alone a legal resident.
Yeah, Craig, I'm not sure that I believe the process is that difficult. If you come to this country and you're not on the Interpol watch list or some terrorist watch list or on the FBI watch list as a criminal, it's easier to get residency in this country than it is to buy a gun in New York or in New Jersey or in California.
Well, yes, residency. The challenge sometimes is part of the problem is first of all, it can take a while. I know that it took my father-in-law and them. It took them almost a decade to get their paperwork processed, filed, and eventually come over.
Well, you remember the naturalization process is 7 years, so just depends on how quick you do that paperwork after the 7-year mark.
Right. Anyway, I don't disagree. I guess my point though is regardless of if it's, first of all, if it's difficult or not, there's a process, and you need to go through that process. Number one, and you should not be rewarded for violating that process.
Correct.
Right. We should not be rewarding you. You should, if you want to go through the process, you go to the end of the line. Go out of the country and go to the end of the line.
Yeah.
And then you deal with it. I just want to make sure that it's not longer than it needs to be.
To prove that the process is working now, and I mean the current administration's process, we talked about this, I think it was last week. If you self-deport, if you're one of those people without a criminal history and you self-deport, they're being allowed back into the country now with residency permission in as little as 2 weeks, Craig. 2 weeks.
I did not know that.
That's how fast it's occurring. Yes.
Wow. Well, as long as they're doing, because one of the biggest problems with all of this is yes, it's that we just let 20 million people walk in, but most of them, overwhelming majority of them, we have no idea who they are.
Yep.
At the very least, what we get to do now is we get to vet them. We get to find out who they are. We get to find out what they're coming here for. There's a whole lot of things that can go into that process.
Yep.
And once again, though, here's the key: is you're providing an incentive. You're rewarding people for doing the right thing and leaving, and doing it the right way. Then rewarding them for then doing it the right way.
That's right.
All right, folks. So that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word. Get your Hog Holster today. I'm just going to put it this way, Mike. AI has truly jumped the shark. And this first one here, I've got to tell you, and for those of y'all with sensitive ears, let me just say this. There's a few bad words in this one, so you're probably not going to want to listen if you can't handle any foul language. But and if you are listening, you are just not going to get it. You're not going to enjoy it. But if you're watching it, you are going to find it to be hilarious.
Mega. I go check them. Hurry up and buy. Hurry up and buy. Hurry up and buy.
Hey! You dropped something.
Yeah! Break yourself, fool!
I feel sorry for your mother.
What you say about my mama? Huh? Break yourself!
You break your bike! Soda, fight that! Come on!
That was
so
hilarious.
let me tell you a quick story.
Okay.
Quick story, right? When I was over in Tatooine, right, serving in the desert land, and we'd have these the locals, the teenage kids or young males, by the way, which are fighting age males, that would be at the bazaars selling all their wares and crap and Chinese stuff that American soldiers could buy, right? And you'd get some of them that were just learning English, and they would ask, no one buy for me. Why nobody buy for me? And I go, listen, it's all in the pitch, man. You got to tell people that you're honest. And he goes, how do I say that? How do I say I'm honest? I go, when they come up, you say, Mister, I screw you less. I screw you less. So we got a whole bazaar of people as people are walking through to buy stuff. They go, Mister, I screw you less. I screw you less. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So for those of you who don't know, that was so basically they used AI to replace two of the characters from was it Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, and they replaced two of the characters with Donald Trump and Marco Rubio.
Yeah, and two other characters. They put
oh yeah. Well, there were three.
Yeah.
You had Ilhan Omar and you had Tim Walz, and then you saw who came in and stole the money, right?
Yep.
That was Gavin Newsom.
Yep. Exactly.
It was scary. It was scary good. Now, this next one also a bit of AI. Let's just say they're basically taking advantage of an old classic here. You guys will enjoy this one.
Yo.
Hello, Shorty. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Are you all alone?
What's up? What's up?
Who's that?
Yo, pick up the phone. What's up?
What's up?
Yo, Duque, pick up the phone.
Yo.
What's up?
Oh, Duque.
Okay, yeah, 2 points, right? One, have you and I not been doing the "was up," trying to bring it back?
We have been trying to bring it back. Yes,
we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back. And two, this was a Star Wars parody, and the person that played Duque was Count Dooku. Yeah.
Yes, that was a must. That was definitely a must. All right, and this last one is both a funny song and it's both a funny song and a shout out to it's just a funny song.
Liberals ain't easy to love, and they're just kind of slow. They'd rather just silence your voice and prove what they know. Star-studded bull rings and cheap purple-haired dye. Each TikTok is filled with new rage. If you don't listen to them, they don't reproduce. They'll probably just fade away. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. Don't let them get degrees in communist stuff. Let them get real jobs and do work that's tough. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be liberals. They'll never think straight, they're always confused, even when you prove them wrong.
Anyway,
there you go.
Don't let your kids grow up to be liberals. I will tell you, I have friends who've kids. Conservatives whose kids have grown up liberal, and I'm like, look, here's the thing. It's our job as parents to brainwash our kids. We have to wash out all of that stinking thinking that the world is trying to put into their heads.
That's right. That's your job.
That's your job is to brainwash them, to put all the good stuff in there. The Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old, they will not depart from it. Training up is not simply imparting knowledge, it's making it instinctual go-to. And if you ain't doing that as a parent, you are missing it.
That's it. And if you screw up, your kid's going to be at a protest, get shot with a fire hose.
Or pepper spray.
Pepper spray. There you go.
Why don't they don't let them use dogs anymore, Riley? Those do they?
Dogs don't want to taste that.
Anyway. All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. But before we go, we're going to do one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get yourself some AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform, plus barrels for all kinds of handguns, rifles, shotguns, anything you need. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, get on over to uscombatgear.com. Use your group, get your agency together, place an order, and you get everything except the gun.
Once again, folks, you can find their websites by simply following the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them. Tell them that the guys over at the Rundown. With that, that's going to be the end of the show. In fact, that's going to be the end of this week. We're going to take a few days off, or at least I'm going to take a few days off, and we should be back with you on Monday, Fun Day, Gun Day. So then, y'all have fun, y'all stay safe, and we will see you on the flip side.